Text, Matthew 16 to 18. In the Sermon on the Mount, the Lord continues addressing the religious practices that characterized first-century Judaism. Fasting was a well-known expression of humility and mourning before God. The law of Moses commanded fasting on the Day of Atonement, and by the time of the Second Temple period, many devout Jews practiced additional fasts. Yet, as with almsgiving and prayer, the practice had become entangled with public recognition and outward religiosity. The passage reads, "Moreover, when you fast, be not, as the hypocrites, of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head, and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly." The Lord begins with the phrase, "when you fast," acknowledging that fasting was a normal practice among his Jewish audience. However, his focus is not on the discipline itself, but on the heart behind it. He contrasts two kinds of people: the hypocrites and the one who seeks the Father. The word hypocrites refers to those who perform religious acts as a public display. In the culture of that time, certain individuals intentionally altered their appearance while fasting. They would neglect washing, dishevel their hair, and display a gloomy expression so that others would recognize their supposed devotion. Their goal was not communion with God, but recognition from men. Jesus declares that such individuals have their reward. The praise they receive from observers is the full extent of their compensation. Their fasting ends at the level of human admiration. In contrast, the Lord describes a different approach. The one who fasts is instructed to anoint his head and wash his face. These were ordinary acts of daily grooming in the ancient world. The instruction indicates that fasting should not be turned into a visible spectacle. Instead, the practice was to remain hidden from public attention. The emphasis throughout this section of the sermon is the unseen relationship between the individual and the Father. The phrase, "thy Father which is in secret," appears repeatedly. This language highlights a personal and direct relationship with God that does not rely on public religious performance. Within the broader setting of the sermon, Jesus is addressing a generation living at the close of an age. Israel stood within a covenantal system that was nearing its fulfillment. The temple, sacrifices, and many outward religious expressions defined the spiritual life of the nation. Yet the Lord consistently redirected attention away from external forms and toward the reality of the Father's kingdom that he was revealing. Fasting, prayer, and giving were not presented as means of earning acceptance with God. Rather, Jesus exposed the futility of religious acts performed for status or recognition. The hypocrites sought validation through outward observance, but the Father's concern was with what occurred in secret. The promise given is that thy Father, which seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly. The reward spoken of by Jesus is connected to the Father's acknowledgement and the unveiling of his kingdom. Throughout his ministry, the Lord spoke of a coming manifestation in which what was hidden would be revealed. This teaching fits within the larger message that the righteousness of the kingdom surpasses the visible religiosity of the scribes and Pharisees. The righteousness Jesus described was not rooted in human effort or public demonstration, but in the reality of a restored relationship with the Father. Thus, the passage presents a contrast between outward religion and inward communion. The hypocrites practiced fasting as a performance before men, while the one who sought the Father did so quietly, without display. In this way, Jesus revealed that the true focus of devotion was not the appearance of holiness, but the unseen relationship with God who sees all things.